So let's make this easy. It is 2, 11, 22. Date, our objective. So what we want to talk about today is 0 exponents and negative exponents. Okay. All right, 0 exponents. Well, we learned that, right? So we know that anything to the 0 power is always 1. Always. We kind of proved it, didn't we, with the x to the 3 over the x to the 3. I mean, the proof is if I have x cubed over x cubed, we know that's 1. Or x to the 3 minus 3 is x to the 0, but we already know the answer is 1, isn't it? So anything to 0 power is always 1, okay? Always the number 1, not x to the 1, but just plain old the number 1. Even my calculator is going to confer with me. If I go 10 to the 0 power, guess what I get? 1. If I do like 513 to the 0 power, I get 1. All right? Anything to 0 power is always 1, always. And there's the proof in it right there. Now, negative exponents, I'm going to put think fraction. Okay, so think fraction. And then draw a fraction bar. Okay, draw a fraction bar. Okay, so like on example 1, I'm just going to go straight to that. Okay, go straight. That's how I'm going to start my example 1. Okay, and then to make the exponent positive, move it either up or down. Move it either up or down. Okay, and I'll let you catch up. So it's not that hard. When you see a negative exponent, just say, okay, Mr. Davies said just move it, okay? Just move it. Either move it down or move it up. And then we simplify. And then simplify. Okay? All right. So, and I don't want to go too fast. I'll wait for you. So let's make this easy. Number 1, I have a negative exponent right there. So I'm going to move the x to the negative 3 down and make it an x to the positive 3. And I'll wait for you, okay? I just took the x to the negative 3. I brought it down to the bottom part of the fraction. Because like Tava said, there is an invisible over 1 here, right? I can make that in fraction. We don't really need to write it, but there technically is. So we brought it down. Now the y to the 5th is fine. Y to the 5th is y to the 5th, so I'm just going to keep the y to the 5th where it is. And z to the 0 is? Z to the 0 is? 1. Now, that's basically the answer. I mean, I don't need the 1, but I can keep the 1. 1, y to the 5th over x to the 3rd. Okay? That's it. That's it. Let me see thumbs up. Not too bad, right? Okay, example 2. So before I do anything, I see my negative exponents. So what is the first thing I do? Just write the fraction bar, right? So you have the top and the bottom, numerator, denominator, fancy words. I've got my numerator, denominator of my fraction. I love those fancy words. And let's move the negative exponents. So my x to the 5th, negative 5 is going to come down and make an x to the positive 5. My x to the negative 2 is going to come up and make an x to the positive 2, right? Y to the 3rd, let's leave it where it's at. Leave the y to the 3rd where it's at. It's already a positive exponent. It stays where it's at. Y to the 3rd. Okay, now, 4/8. This is just 4/8. It's just 4/8, which reduces to 1/2. Do you see the 1/2? I have a fraction bar, so 1/2, right? The 1's on the numerator, the 2's in the denominator. Okay, now, can I simplify a little bit more? Sure. Can't I? 2 of these x's should cancel with 2 of these x's, correct? How many x's would I have left? On the top or on the bottom? Good, because there's 2 of these, cancel 2 of these, so we'd have 3 left over. So my answer would be a 1 over a 2x3 y3, because 2 of these cancel 2 of these, right? That's my answer. How am I doing? Okay, not bad? What do you think? Not bad? Okay, slide it up. Example 3. So on example 3, I see negative exponents, so start with the fraction bar. Just start right there, okay? If it has a negative exponent, we're going to move it. Okay, so this is really like over 1. So I'm going to move the 4 to the negative 2 down and make it a 4 to the positive 2. X to the negative 3 I'll move down, and I'll make it x to the positive 3. Now, the y to the 7 is fine. Leave it on the top. It's a positive exponent. One last thing to simplify, what would that be? One last thing to simplify, what would that be? I could, yeah, what's 4 squared? Yeah, let's just change that to a 16, right? So y to the 7th over a 16x to the 3rd. Okay. Ready to turn the page? All right, here we go. All right, now, example 5. What I need to do before I do anything is bring this exponent into both, right? And I'm going to multiply exponents, right? So I'm going to get a 4 to the negative 3. So I've brought that in over x to the negative 6. I don't need my parentheses. I just left them there. I don't really need them. So I just brought the exponent in, okay? And that was one of the rules we saw. I just multiplied exponents top and bottom. Okay, now, fraction bar, right? I'm going to have a x to the positive 6 because I brought this one up. And I'll have a 4 to the positive 3 because I brought that one down. So I just moved them. Okay, I'm going to do one more thing. What is 4 times 4 times 4? 64. That's, I knew you meant that, Scott. X to the 6 over 4, 64. See, Scott almost wrote 48. Okay, now example 6. There's 2 ways to do it, and both will work. Okay? 2 ways to do it, both work. One is we could bring this cube here, 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 and bring the cube here, here, here. We can do that and then simplify, okay? Or we can simplify what's inside first and then bring it, okay? I would probably prefer to simplify what's in first because then it makes it smaller, right? So let's do that first. Let's simplify what's in here first. We'll ignore the cube and we'll take care of that in a bit, okay? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to write, start there, okay? So my cubed is still there, but I'm going to multiply, I'm going to simplify what's in first. Negative 2, 6. Negative 2, 6 is negative 1/3. It's just regular numbers, okay? Regular integers. Negative 2 divided by negative 6. I'm going to reduce that to a negative 1/3. Now that is not a negative exponent. That's a negative number. This is not a negative exponent. This negative 2 is just a negative 2. Right? Its exponent is 1. Okay, so boom. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is move some terms. Let me move some terms. So, all right, I'm going to move x to negative 3 comes down, right? y to the negative 4 comes up. I have some terms that didn't need to move because they're already positive. I have an x to the 4th is still there. And I have a y to the 3rd, which is still there, okay? All I did was I moved exponents. That's all I did. If they have a negative exponent, I moved them up, or I moved them down, just kind of depending. Negative on the bottom goes up, negative on the top goes down. Now I can simplify some more, can't I? I can. So let's keep simplifying. I got a negative 1/3. I'll have a y to the 7th on top on the numerator, and an x to the 7th on the bottom in the denominator, okay? All right, now it's going to get easy to apply the negative 1/3. All right, so we're going to be careful. Be a little bit careful with this number here. Okay. 1/3 times 1/3 times 1/3. I'll say it again. In the cubic, what is 1/3 times 1/3 times 1/3?
1. Negative 1.
Right, and then we're going to put the negative in there as well, because negative plus negative, negative 1/27. 3 times 3 times 3, okay, negative 1/27 here. Okay, good. So 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, 3 times 3 times 3 is 27, but again, a negative times a negative times a negative is going to give me a negative 1/27. And we learned yesterday that if you have an exponent to an exponent, you multiply, right? So a y to the 21 over an x to the 21. I do not need my parentheses. I can drop my parentheses. There's no reason for them. I don't even really need this 1 here, but I put it in there anyway, okay? How's that? So our homework, you guys, is on page, out of our journal, and we're doing the odds. So I'm not going to make you do them all, but it's page 21, 1 to 23 odd. You want to take a little walk, a little mass break? You guys want to play 21, or do you want to take a walk? 21, okay, let's play 21. All right, let's play 21. Let's go on outside, play a game of 21.